The year 2011 witnessed a seismic shift in the political landscape of the Arab world. This period, famously known as the Arab Spring, was sparked by a wave of pro-democracy protests. It began in Tunisia and quickly spread to other countries in the region. People were yearning for change, frustrated by decades of authoritarian rule, economic disparity, and lack of political freedom. One of the earliest and most significant uprisings occurred in Tunisia. It started in December 2010 when a young fruit vendor, Mohamed Bouazizi, set himself on fire in protest against police harassment and corruption. This act of desperation resonated with the frustrations of countless Tunisians and ignited nationwide protests. The protests in Tunisia led to the ousting of President Zine Al Abidine Ben Ali, who had been in power for 23 years. This victory inspired similar movements across the Arab world, giving hope to millions that they too could overthrow their oppressive regimes. The Arab Spring had begun. From the streets of Tunis, the wave of protests surged eastward, engulfing Egypt, Libya, Yemen, Bahrain, and Syria. Each country had its unique set of grievances and dynamics, but they shared a common thread, a yearning for dignity, freedom, and a better future. In Egypt, the Arab world's most populous nation, the protests centered around Cairo's Tahrir Square. Millions of Egyptians, united in their call for President Hosni Mubarak to step down, occupied the square, turning it into a symbol of defiance. The 18-day uprising culminated in Mubarak's resignation after 30 years in power. Libya witnessed a far more violent struggle. The uprising against Muammar Gaddafi, who had ruled the country with an iron fist for over 4 decades, quickly descended into a civil war. Backed by international intervention, Libyan rebels eventually captured and killed Gaddafi in October 2011. However, the country has been plagued by instability and conflict ever since. In Yemen, long-simmering political and economic grievances erupted into mass protests demanding the removal of President Ali Abdullah Saleh. He eventually agreed to step down in 2012 after months of protests and international pressure. However, Yemen too plunged into a devastating civil war that continues to this day, resulting in one of the world's worst humanitarian crises. The Arab Spring was not without its setbacks and unintended consequences. In some countries, the initial euphoria of revolution gave way to instability, renewed authoritarianism, and even civil war. Tunisia, the birthplace of the Arab Spring, initially made significant strides towards democracy. It held free and fair elections, adopted a new constitution, and witnessed a vibrant civil society. However, the country has faced economic challenges and political polarization in recent years. Egypt's transition to democracy proved to be short-lived. In 2013, Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, a former military chief, led a coup that ousted the democratically elected government. Sisi has since consolidated power, cracking down on dissent and curtailing freedoms. Syria witnessed the most brutal and tragic turn of events. The Assad regime responded to peaceful protests with brutal force, unleashing a civil war that has raged on for over a decade. The conflict has resulted in the deaths of hundreds of thousands of people, displaced millions more, and devastated the country. More than a decade after the Arab Spring, the Middle East remains a region in flux. The uprisings brought about profound changes, toppling dictators and raising hopes for a more democratic and prosperous future. However, they also exposed deep-seated problems, including sectarian tensions, economic inequality, and political instability. The legacy of the Arab Spring is a complex one, marked by both progress and setbacks. While some countries like Tunisia have made significant strides towards democracy, others, like Syria and Yemen, have been ravaged by conflict and humanitarian crises. The Arab Spring serves as a stark reminder that the path to democracy is rarely smooth or linear. It is a long and arduous process that requires patience, perseverance, and a commitment to dialogue and compromise. As the region continues to grapple with the aftershocks of the uprisings, one thing is certain: the yearning for dignity, freedom, and a better future that ignited the Arab Spring remains as strong as ever.